Welcome to DFS Insights. I am David Geislinger, and I'm joined by my cousin, David Grant Jr. The teams up on the block are the Philadelphia 76ers at the Golden State Warriors.
This is where each of us are going to be bringing you three of our key players to focus on while creating each of your lineups. If you notice the same player selected as both of our three key plays of the game, consider taking extra note of that player, as David and I do not discuss our three main plays beforehand, making that player all the more valuable. So David and I are going to give a quick breakdown of what we like about those three key plays, and stay tuned till the end where we're going to give away two absolutely free lineups.
Nice, yeah. So here's another start. Basically, this is the NBA week, right? In between divisional championship and the Super Bowl. So start getting some NBA here. So first up is the Philadelphia 76ers at Golden State. It might be a good matchup based on who's playing. So it looks like 76ers are ranked right now third in the East. Last 10 games are 6-4. They're currently on a 3-game losing streak, so that hurts.
Yeah.
I guess if Embiid's not scoring 70, they're not winning. While Golden State's 12th in the West, they're 3-7 their last 10 games, and they're currently on a 2-game losing streak after losing probably an upset to the Kings by 1 point, and now double overtime to the Lakers by 1 point. So I bet you they're pretty frustrated over there in the Bay Area. Golden State is favored to win this one, 3.5 points. Looks like the over/under sitting at about 236.5, so relatively high scoring game, about 120, 116 ish is what Vegas is projecting. So the pace should be pretty decent. So hopefully we can get some scorers out there. The biggest factor really is the injuries. Philly is coming off. This is a back-to-back game they did play last night. Biggest injuries to take note of is Embiid, game time decision. Tyrese Maxey, game time decision. Embiid was out last night against the Trailblazers. It said rest, so he might play tonight, but I still don't like that game time decision. And this is why I hate the NBA, is because you don't know until basically tip off who's playing or not. So that's why, please make sure you hit the notification bell. Any injury updates, anything like that alters anything that we talk about here will be posted down in the comments. So make sure to, if anything does happen, come back and check it out. But Embiid's huge. Dude has the last 3 games like a 47 usage rate on him, which is insane. And Maxey, I can see him being the more probable to be out, dealing that he's actually out with an ankle sprain there. So the other injuries, Melton, he's been out for the last 7 games, and he'll be out for the next few weeks. So they already kind of adjusted to him being out, and same with Robert Covington, he's out, but he's been out for a while now, so the rotation's already kind of adjusted for him. And then Chris Paul is also on the Golden State. He's out, but he's been out for I think 9 games now, and he'll be out for the next several weeks. He just had a surgery, so. Those are the biggest things. Anything else to note before we jump into our players here?
Only by looking at the Vegas line and having Golden State favored by 3.5, that's kind of telling me that Embiid and Maxey would be out, and that's just strictly judging off the line. And Embiid did miss both. He didn't only miss last game, but he had a day's rest, and he missed the game against Denver on the 27th.
That's right. Yeah.
So he might, I don't know. I have a feeling they've been doing really well. They know that Golden State's going to be tired, coming off the games like you mentioned. So I'm building my lineups right now as if they're out, but always keep your eye on the news. Obviously pre-lock. Make sure to check your stuff, your lineups 15 minutes beforehand just to make sure.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's how I'm going to approach it. I'm approaching it as if they're both out. However, make sure you look at the comments too, because if he is playing, I already kind of simulated a lineup, and I'll throw it in the comments section as if Embiid's playing. I see Maxey out. Just like I said, it's more of an injury vice, him wanting time to relax.
Rest.
Yeah. So, but with that, I'll let you go ahead and start. Who's the 3 players that's going to lead you to this 10K victory here?
So I mean, I'm gonna have to go. Man, yeah, I know it's tough since I know Steph Curry has been getting a lot of minutes, but they need some wins. And coming off, some heartbreaking losses, and especially, thinking that these other 2 guys, the main 2 guys for Philly are going to be out. I got Steph Curry. I think he can still go out there and knock down some buckets. I like him a lot. I like Reed. I like Paul Reed as the backup. If Embiid does not play, I will be playing, obviously, a lot of Paul Reed with everybody else. I think Reed's good enough to be in the pro spot. I think he's even good enough to be in the star spot. And if you want to get a little frisky, you could even put him at MVP. With Maxey and Embiid out, I'd look to play, obviously, Tobias Harris as well. He's another guy that can go out there and get you 50 fantasy points and be a top scorer. So just because he's 12-5, remember we have these other injuries. So, I really like Tobias Harris, and I'm just gonna throw out 2 more real quick. I like Kuminga and Oubre. Those are like my 5 dudes that I'll be intertwining all out through the different spots. Oubre is one of those dudes. He has a very low floor, but an extremely high ceiling. So he's definitely the type of player that can win you tournaments. And Kuminga's just been on a tear. He's been making me quite a bit of money lately. So yeah, sorry. I know that's over 3 dudes, but I really like all 5 of those guys and mixing them up in between each of the multiplier spots and the flex.
Yeah, to kind of go over, I guess you say the first 3. Tobias Harris, I like him, especially for, game log trolls. We'll see, that last game he played 15, only 20 minutes. And I mean, if they scroll down, they'll see, higher ones. But he is coming off an illness, so I think they limited his minutes against Portland, especially since I think it was a blowout. Yeah, so most of the starters didn't even play the final 4th quarter, so I'm not too worried about him. And I think he'll come back and get his, typical mid-30 minutes there. So, yeah, Tobias Harris is definitely a good one, especially with those out. He does see a little bit more usage there. Paul Reed had a killer game against Denver with Embiid out, and he came back against Portland last night. And like I said, only 24 minutes, he got 30 fantasy points. But like I said, he didn't play the bulk of the 4th quarter because the game was out of reach. So he probably could have had a 40, 50 plus game if, it was competitive there. It's Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry is going to show up? Is it going to be 3-point Steph Curry, or is it going to be frustrated at your team Steph Curry? It's hard not to go, to use him. But like if you do fade him, you got to hope for that terrible game, which seems to be at least. Last 4 games he's averaging above 40 fantasy points. The LA game, that's double overtime, 59. So I'm assuming it was probably around 40-ish during the end of the 4th quarter. So yeah, it looks like he's at least he's getting the minutes. He's getting the minutes, and he can shoot. So.
And he's been at home,
Yeah.
He's been at home. So that's the key thing, the last 4 games he's been at home, and same with tonight. So that makes a big difference than traveling all the way to the East Coast to play Philly, for sure.
So, going off my 3, I'll kind of jump in with the Kuminga. I like him a lot. Dude's been going crazy the last, I can say for a while now, but especially the last 6 games, dude's just been on a tear. He's young, 24, 25 years old, so I'm not worried about his minutes. I would like to actually see him get a little bit more. I'd like to see him get in that, the mid 30s, and then obviously he'd be that, be even more utilized. And why he isn't, I think they just unfortunately are kind of stuck in their ways. I do have Wiggins, who kind of fell off in the beginning of the season, but he seems to be coming back. So with him there and Kuminga, they're not really substitutes. They're not like alternate, but they're both they both can't score at the same time. So
yeah.
So I like Kuminga. I even like him in any spot, whether it be MVP down to utility. I think he's viable in any spot, and as you'll see in my lineup, where I have him at. Usage is 23. He's averaging 34.1 minutes in the last 3 games. He's projected about 25 points this match, which is kind of weird because the last 3 matchups he's averaging 38 fantasy points. So how I've verified a few different sites that I like to use, and they're saying about 25. I'm not really fighting that because he actually does have a good matchup against the archetype position he's going against. They do give up decent fantasy points to him. So I would probably go a little higher on the projection. I would say at least 30 for me. That's what I'm gonna do him with. Going on, as much as I hate to say it, being Kings fan, Draymond Green. He's been, ever since his suspension, come back. 4 games. You can tell they missed him. As terrible as a person as he is, he's a pretty decent basketball player, pretty good basketball player. At least he facilitates that offense at Golden State like crazy. They needed him.
Big time.
He's averaging 34 fantasy points since he's been back. It is hyperinflated a little bit with the LA game being, double overtime. He did get 54. He's actually projected 33 fantasy points against this one. And obviously he was optimal last game due to the double overtime with the 54 points there. So I do see him being, his typical self. He's not necessarily a scorer, but he gets rebounds, he gets steals, blocks, assists. So, and he has the potential to get score points too. So, So I see him definitely, especially at 11.5. I can see him. I wouldn't. Maybe I'd say Star would probably be the top. I don't think I would put him in MVP. Unless you feeling a little frisky, but I just see too many other viable options to put him over in the least there. Star would just to be ownership play, pure ownership play. It wouldn't be any other thing there. Last up on my list, I'm going to go with the value play here, and this is mainly if Tyrese Maxey is out. Patrick Beverley has been getting the start. As you can see, he's with Maxey out 30 minutes, 36 minutes. He's been balling out. 40 fantasy points against Denver, and he got 23.7 against that, which probably would have been about 30, maybe low 30s if he was able to play the full game. Like I mentioned, the third time it is a blowout. He's averaging, basically 33 minutes and 32 fantasy points as a starter with Maxey out. So at 7K, you can't really beat that value there. Nice. And Golden State, is pretty gives up quite a bit of fantasy points to his archetype. Usage is pretty good. That's hitting about 21, and he's averaging, he's only projected 17, which, this is the average. I take an average of a few different sites that I use, and 17 points seems low. I'm thinking more like mid 20s, low 30s for this matchup. For me, that's how I'm going to kind of project it there. And at 7K, even if he gets me 20 in the utility, I'd be happy. Obviously, if I was to, get a little frisky, go throw up here to pro or star, obviously I'd want him to hit that higher 25, 30, 35 fantasy points there. So do what you will. And having a 7K player in one of those multiplier spots, you'll definitely be different there. So what
Nice.
do you think of those? What do you think of those 3 plays there?
Yeah, I like him a lot. Especially the Marcus Smart play. Plus, you never know what's going to go down with Smart and Draymond Green. Out on the floor, we got 2 guys that like to play physical, like to open their mouths. So,
Marcus Smart. I think he's on Boston.
isn't that who you said? That's who I thought you said.
No, Kuminga and Green, and Patrick Beverly for the Phillies.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Pat Bev. Same difference. Pat Bev also runs his mouth.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know why I was thinking. I think I was thinking of all these trade, because the trade deadline's coming up soon.
Yeah. But no, like I said, those I think it's going to be a good matchup. Obviously, everything changes if Embiid and Maxey plays, because
100%, 1,000%.
Yeah, 1,000%. So with that, now here's what everybody's been waiting for. Here's those free lineups. Please, your insight matters. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on the key players in this matchup. Who are your top picks, and which players do you think might be the game changers? Feel free to ask us any questions about players that we didn't mention. We basically researched the entire game and then all the players, and we pick the 3 that we think. But we do have the research and analysis on other players as well, and also just wanted to start reaching out and to start building this community. So with that, please make sure you like, subscribe. That way this video can get put out in front of other people. And with that, hope to see you on that leaderboard. And David?
Yes, sir. Yep. Good luck to everybody out there. Like, subscribe. We'll be having lots of NBA videos come out this week, as well as next week leading up to the Super Bowl. So keep your eyes out for those. Leave questions and comments down below, and see you guys up at the top of the leaderboard. You guys have a great day.